Yo, it's the Co.
And yo, it's the Cone, and welcome to, I believe, the fourth edition of the Roundup. Going to be talking about the games from the previous match week. I know it's been a couple weeks, but with the next match week starting, nice to get a little refresher in. Um, as well as talk about the games coming this week, do our predictions for them. We ready?
Yep.
Starting with the first match of the previous match week, Luton and West Ham at Luton, Friday night game. What do we think?
Um, what I was seeing was the first half was back and forth until Jared Bowen had his first goal, and even after that, it was still back and forth. Like Lewin played very well, they just couldn't capitalize on the opportunities they had. What else? James Ward-Prowse is that guy. He knows where to place the ball right, and he did in the second goal with Kurt Zuma. And for Lewin Town's goal, it was a great pass. And I feel like Lewin Town should have tied because the VAR got the penalty wrong at the end, which would have been a very different ball game and could have given Luton Town their first point of this year.
Yeah, it was about the same for me. We both got our predictions right for this one. We both said 2-1 West Ham, which is good for us. But yeah, it was closer. It was a lot closer than you would want it to be if you're West Ham. I mean, I know that that's a really tough place to play in. You gotta, especially for like the away fans, you have to walk, like you have the view of everyone's back garden. Like you're walking through a residential area to get to the stands. It's definitely a tough environment for away teams, but West Ham got the 3 points. Ward-Prowse is unbelievable. What a great signing. Paqueta has been playing out of his mind. I'm sure he bet on himself to get an assist in that one. Yeah, not a great start for Luton, but I think that home ground is still going to cause people problems.
It cost West Ham a little bit of problems.
Oh yeah, it was not easy for them to get the 3 points. You said the controversy at the end. It's going to be tough for teams to get a clean win there if they're going to win matches. Moving on to the first Saturday game, we have Sheffield and Everton.
Yeah, so we both got the prediction wrong. I predicted 1-0 Sheffield, and you predicted 2-0 Sheffield, and the game was 2-2. Now to the game. Everton's first goal should have been the first goal of the year, should have been expected. It was a lucky bounce and a deflection from the goalkeeper. Sheffield's goal was a beauty, though. The first one was a beauty. But the second one, it would have been a beauty, but you just kind of have to feel bad for Pickford. The goal bounces off the post, bounces off his back to lead to the second goal. It was a very competitive match for two very bad teams. It was a scoreline we didn't expect to see, but we wanted it because it was a 2-2, very competitive draw. I think Sheffield are finally finding their groove this year. And I think Pickford saved Everton because he had two back-to-back saves that could have been easy goals for Sheffield to make it 3-2, but he kept them in the books, and both teams got their first points of the year.
Yeah, a bit more fun than I think we were both expecting. Pretty good game overall. Sheffield get the point. Everton get a point. It's probably one of the 18 or 19 they'll get all season. Pickford is the only reason that Everton are going to stay in games. I mean, how many times have you seen someone get an own goal and then still have a green rating on FotMob? I've never seen it, except for KSI at the Sidemen charity match. That's really that's the only time I've seen it. But yeah, Everton get their first goal, get their first 2 goals. Sheffield get a couple goals again. Unlucky for Pickford, but they had so many chances, and Pickford kept them out. Everton did play pretty well, and I think against teams like Sheffield, more inexperienced, are the only times that you're going to see Everton play well.
For the third game and the second game of Saturday, we have Brentford versus Bournemouth. Would you like to start us off, Aidan?
Sure. Again, entertaining game. It was pretty fun. What were our predictions for this? You have.
Yeah, it was. I predicted two. We both predicted 2-1 to Brentford, and
Okay.
they ended 2-2.
All right. So yeah, pretty good for Bournemouth to get a point. A good, fun late winner for Embuemo. It's always what you want in these games. Yeah, Brentford played pretty well. Maybe deserved the result. I think it was pretty even for the most part. Brentford definitely had the advantage, but Bournemouth just stay in it. They know how to stay in games. They're a competitive team, and that's the way that they're going to get points and stay up this year. Yeah, pretty fun game overall for me.
Yeah, it was a very fun game. The first half was very slow. The only 2 highlights were the 2 goals, which the first one for Brentford caught Neto off guard because he was playing way too to the left instead of blocking the near post. And Brentford's goal was excellent. The pass that led to the goal was excellent. With the second goal with Brentford, it was a great counterattack from Brentford to take the lead, but it wasn't enough for the win because Brentford came back in the last minutes of the game to tie it up, and both teams secured a point, which was a very fun match to watch, but it was very beneficial for both of them because they both got points.
Moving on to the next game, we have Burnley versus Spurs. Marco, what are your thoughts?
So the predictions for this match, we both predicted 2-1, but I predicted 2-1 Burnley and you predicted 2-1 the Spurs. And the game was 5-2. I think Burnley had the early lead that they wished for, but then Son had a beautiful chip over the goalie to equalize it. And then the last closing seconds of the half, Romero gets a header, which kind of sparked Spurs' motivation exiting the half and entering the second half. That gave James Maddison a goal, which was a beauty. And Son gets a hat-trick. And Spurs are the team to be right now. They are the team to be. I think Harry Kane is punching the air in his apartment in Munich whenever he sees Spurs winning like this.
Yeah, it's got to be a little disappointing for him. Like, why couldn't they have done that when he was there the last couple of years? Yeah, Spurs. Wow. I mean, it seems like Son is gonna play that number 9 role and run with it. I'm sorry, Richarlison, but that's a guy that's gonna get you goals. Really good game for Spurs. Everyone was involved. I mean, if you look at it, 2 defenders got an assist. One of their center backs got a goal. The midfield is doing great. The wingers are great. The forwards, wow. I mean, they like you said, like they're the team. They're the team right now. I mean, obviously City is City, but they've been the team that you want to be in the Premier League so far. But yeah, Burnley, it's a little concerning still. I mean, that defense was just torn to shreds. Uh, and yeah, it was good players doing it. I mean, Son and Madison are amazing. But yeah, it's tough. It's really tough.
For the next game, it's Chelsea versus Forest. Our predictions were 3-1 to Chelsea, and your prediction was 2-1 to Chelsea, and the game ended 1-0 to Forest. Aidan?
Yeah, I know last week we both said Chelsea were back. And, I guess not. Pretty good game for Forest. Matt Turner had an incredible game. Shout out Anthony Elanga for getting the winner. But again, I don't know how it happens so quick. How Chelsea can look like they're playing well to just looking like a bunch of individuals again. I don't think. I mean, clearly Robert Sanchez isn't the answer for them in goal. So yeah, pretty good game for Forest. Nice to get the points. I mean, they're sitting 9th right now, and Chelsea are 12th. They're getting real comfortable in that 12th spot again. But yeah, there's not much to it. I mean, it wasn't a great game. Chelsea probably should have gotten a point out of it, at least. But it sucks. That's life sometimes, and when you're struggling, you're struggling.
Yeah, I don't know what Cole Palmer was talking about when he said, I like the future that Chelsea's doing, because is this the 2023-2024 Chelsea or the 2022-2023 Chelsea that we saw last year? Because it's the same Chelsea that we love and adore that can't get a goal. The match was very, very boring, and Forest just came out of the second half, just the best team out there, to secure the game winner in the 50th minute, like the 50th minutes. It was disappointing to see Chelsea. Like, it's just, they're a very inconsistent team when it comes to the teams in the Premier League.
Yeah, not a great game for them. Next up, Man City and Fulham. Our predictions were...
My prediction was 4-2 to City, and your prediction was 3-0 to City. The game ended 5-1. Yeah.
Oh man, it was bad. It was really bad. I'll go first. Hat tricks galore. Haaland gets a hat trick. Julian Alvarez is so good, and I hate saying that as a Man United fan, but oh my gosh, he is an incredible talent. Yeah, City, I feel like this is just kind of going to be the norm for them. I mean, Fulham weren't terrible. Like, obviously, it sucks that was the result, but yeah, City are just amazing.
Yeah, if last year's Chelsea's back, then last year's City is back then, because the 5-1 dominant that they had in the Etihad, beautiful. Like, the first half was very competitive. There was 3 goals that came out of the half, or before the half ended. And then in the second half, it was just Haaland. He came out, proved everyone why he's still the best player in the world right now. Proved to everyone why he should win the Ballon d'Or. And scored 3 goals in the second half. And he gained his penalty confidence back. I like what they were saying. They were talking, him and Pep were talking about the penalty. And Pep goes, what are you going to do about the penalty situation? And Haaland goes, I'm going to score the next one. And he did score the next one. I love the confidence. I love this team. And I can't wait to see them do this week after week.
That must be nice. Next up is Brighton and Newcastle. Marco, I'm going to let you go first because I have a lot to say, and it's all positive.
It was a good day to be an Irishman. To see your youngster out there kick a hat trick into goals, like 3 goals from 3 different players. It's the first time we've seen it since I don't know how long ago. Ferguson made it clear to the Zebra that he is the man up top and he should be the man up top. The second goal was a beauty from outside the box. The goalie did not expect it. Nick Pope did not expect it. And just the third one to finish off Newcastle. Newcastle had a lot of chances, but they couldn't find the goal. They haven't been the same since they lost to City. They came out swinging 5-1 against Aston Villa, but the last 3 matches against 3 very competitive teams, 3 teams that could win the Premier League, they have not been proven themselves to be that team.
Like you said, it's a good day to be an Irishman, isn't it? As an Irish person myself who is older than Evan Ferguson, which is just boggles my mind that someone can be this good at that age. And I guess we're seeing it with Jude Bellingham as well. Like young people are very capable of being really good. And wow, I mean, it sucks that he picked up an injury and wasn't able to play in the international break, but it seems like, if anything, he'll miss 1 game for Brighton. Like, he is going to be coming back soon, so it's not a long-term injury. But, oh my word, what a game that he played. I mean, like you said, that second goal was incredible. And, yeah, it's a really nice sign for Brighton that your 18-year-old youngster is doing that well. João Pedro seemed to do pretty well in that Enciso role. And Ansu Fati's on the way. He was one of the brightest youngsters in the world just a year ago. So he's still more than capable of being someone that can get them results and take over games. So if you're a Brighton fan, you're a fan of the Seagulls, it's a really nice day for them. Newcastle getting a bit shaky after that first match day, but they have plenty of time to turn it around.
With the first match of Sunday, we have Crystal Palace versus Wolves. I'm going to start off. The first half was very boring. The last 40 minutes, it was a thriller of a match. It was. 5 goals came out of the last 40 minutes. If the whole match was like the last 40 minutes, it would have been a great match. I do have one thing to say. What's his name again? The South Korean. Hin Chen Wang, he should be starting. He is the only promising player out of Wolves, and he is coming off the bench and scoring goals. I heard that's the only way that they're scoring goals is people off the bench, which is very disappointing because you should have the best team out on the pitch, and they don't have the best team out on the pitch every week.
Yeah, 100%. Thriller of a game, or thriller of a second half. Good for Palace to get the result. I thought they looked pretty well overall, but like you said, with Wolves, they're maybe not making all of the correct decisions for their starting 11. Like, there's no way that you can tell me that He Chen Wang should be off the bench and Pablo Sarabia should be starting on the right for them. Maybe it's a different game if that's swapped. But overall, it was a nice game, or a nice second half. I think Crystal Palace are in a pretty good spot so far, and Wolves, it's a bit concerning overall, but I think out of the teams that are in the bottom 5 or 6, Wolves have shown the most promise out of all of them. So yeah, um, positives to take from both teams, despite Wolves not getting a point out of it.
For the second last match of the whole weekend, we have Liverpool versus Aston Villa. Aidan?
Yeah, I think we both were pretty wrong here. We both thought it was going to be a close game, and it was not. Uh, Aston Villa are not in a bad way. I mean, Liverpool are a team where at home they can kind of just beat up on anyone. I mean, we saw last year they beat United 7-0, and yeah, it was pretty one-sided the whole game. Possession, expected goals, shots, chances, everything is just all Liverpool. Not that close. Trent Alexander-Arnold had a very nice game. Only played like 70 minutes and was the man of the match. Soboslai, nice game. Also learned how to say his name. Pretty proud of myself. Yeah, nice game for Liverpool. They're in a good spot. They're pretty close with Tottenham, I'd say, for being the teams that you want to be outside of City.
Dominic Soboslai, welcome to Liverpool. I think Villa were stunned when he scored the goal, and they were even more stunned when Matty Cash scored the own goal. They looked very iffy, in my opinion. Liverpool played very well. They could be back to the Champions League form if they keep playing this way. And for Villa, they should just kind of capitalize on this and just see where the mistakes were and be the team that they were last year, the surprise top 10 team that they were, and prove everyone wrong.
The final game of the match week was Arsenal and Man United. Marco, I'll let you talk about it first.
Okay. So Man United looked very good at the start of the game, with a goal from Rashford, I think. But Arsenal responded very quick to that one goal, and I think it caught off Man United, and it kind of killed their momentum because they were attacking very, very much, and they just couldn't find the goal. I think at the end it was a very horrible VAR decision because that goal looked onside to me. It looked onside. And that situation gave Arsenal the win and gave them 2 minutes or 2 goals in the last minutes of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty unfortunate. It was more even than I thought it was going to be. I know I said that they would draw, but I was trying to just use a little bias there. But it was even, and the Garnacho decision, the VAR check was iffy. Their last goal, I mean, hear me, when you have Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire as your two center backs in the last 15, 20 minutes of a game, you can't expect to win. I mean, you have a 36-year-old or a 35-year-old that was just on a Leicester team that got relegated, and then you have a guy that has played 20 minutes of first team football the entire season. A really nice cameo from Rasmus Højlund. He was as advertised. He was what you saw, or he was what you expected. Garnacho looked like a threat, which is great. Amrabat's on the way. Hopefully they're fine. I mean, the injuries suck. It's never what you want. You have the issue with Jadon Sancho now. I mean, what are you going to do with him? They just announced that he's going to be training on his own. He's going to be using the academy training ground and staying on a program, but he's going to be away from the first team. They have 3 fit wingers because their other wingers decided to either complain about the manager online or punch women. I mean, it sucks. It's not what you want, and I hope it gives Facundo Pellistri a chance because I think he's going to shine. It's going to give Garnacho a chance to play more regular football. It's going to let Rashford be the guy, and it's also going to elevate Rasmus Højlund because he's going to get a chance to be the guy. And yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's life, and I think they're gonna be okay. And for Arsenal, responded well after the first United goal. Responded well after the offsides check happened. I think at that point there was only one way it was going to go. I mean, the life was ripped out of United, and Arsenal jumped on it. So you have to give credit to them for doing that and getting the 3 points.
And now for
that's all for. Oh, go ahead. All you.
And now that's all done for week 4 or match week 4. And heading on to match week 5, there's a lot of hard matches to predict. Aidan, would you like to start us off with Wolves and Liverpool?
I would. I think it's going to be pretty one-sided, if you ask me. Liverpool and Wolves are one of those teams where it's like they're pretty capable, but they just get unlucky. So I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool.
I'm going to do the same thing. I think 3-1 Liverpool. I think they're very comfortable at home, but they're also very comfortable away against non-very competitive teams. So I have them 3-1.
Yeah, agreed. Next up, Aston Villa and Crystal Palace. Marco, your prediction?
I think it's going to be a very competitive match. I think it's going to be the match of the weekend, next to the one that's coming up soon. But I have a feeling it's going to be 2-1 Villa. I think it's going to be very competitive between both teams.
Yeah, like you said, it has match of the week potential. I mean, it's 2 teams that play good football, and yeah, I think it's going to end 2-2. I think we saw a good amount of 2-2s last week, a lot of competitive games, and these are 2 teams that are very, very capable of playing a competitive, even match. Next up, Fulham and Luton Town. Marco, prediction?
I want to give Luton Town the win, but I don't think they win this week. I think it's gonna be a 2-1 Fulham win. I think they're the stronger team. I know they came off a harsh loss to City, but I think they come back and beat Luton Town.
Yeah, I have 1-0 Fulham. Luton, especially away from home, I don't see them winning many games or even drawing many games. And even against a mid to low-ish table team like Fulham, I think they take care of business and they get 3 points.
For the next match, I think this is also one of the match days of the weekend. We have Man United versus Brighton. Aidan?
2-1 Man United. If it was at Brighton, I think my answer would be different. But I think at Old Trafford, they get the 3 points. It's not going to be easy. Brighton, even if Evan Ferguson doesn't play, it's still going to be tough. Even without that big time goal scorer, it's going to be tough for United to get 3 points. But I think with Amrabat, with hopefully 1 or 2 people coming back, whether it's Varane, Mount, whoever, I think with the new people coming in or a couple injured people coming back, they have a bit more life to them, and they get 3 points.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very competitive match as well. But I have United winning 3-2. And yeah, for the next match, we have Spurs versus Sheffield United. Aidan, would you like to start us off?
I had 3-0 Spurs. I think it's going to be a lot of what you saw last week of them kind of taking. Nope, I'm going to reword that. Them just kind of. Hold on. All right. I was gonna say taking advantage of a smaller team, but then I said I was thinking having their way with a smaller team, and it didn't make it any better. All right.
It was only 15.
Yeah, yeah, I think Spurs are gonna take control, are gonna take care of business, and they're going to dominate the whole time. It's going to be one-sided, and yeah, I have 3-0 Spurs.
Yeah, I think Spurs are going to win easily, but I think it's going to be 2-0. I think they're going to struggle to find a goal in the first half, and both goals are going to come in the second half of the match. Next we have is West Ham United versus Manchester City, which I think it's the match of the week. Aidan, would you like to start us off?
Match of the week? Wow. I mean, I don't know. It's probably going to be a little strange, right? You have West Ham versus Man City, and the match before that played at that stadium was Sidemen FC versus YouTube All Stars, right? Like that's a little weird. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have City winning 3-1. I think it's going to be pretty one-sided, even at West Ham's ground. I while West Ham have a good midfield, I think Chris MD walks in that midfield after the performance that we saw at the London Stadium. Yeah, no, 3-1, Man City.
I think City do win as well, but I think it's going to be a 2-1 win. I think Edson Alvarez gets his first goal of the year and first goal for West Ham. And I think Holland also gets another goal in this match day. And I can't wait to see when he will bring out the Baby Yoda or the whatever celebration that I love.
I'm waiting for the text from you of that on Saturday. It's probably going to happen.
For the next match, we have Newcastle versus Brentford. I'm going to start off. I'm going to say Newcastle are back to their regular form like we saw in week 1. I don't think it will be a 5-1, but I think it would be a 2-0 win for Newcastle.
Yeah, fair enough. I think this has match of the week potential. I think this is a good match week. There are a lot of good matches. I think this has the chance to be really fun. And while I say that, I still think the score is going to be 1-1. I think it's going to be more competitive than people might think, even though it's at St. James Park. I have 1-1. I think it's going to take Newcastle a couple more weeks to really settle in. I think once they get into the groove of things of playing the Champions League group stages and then a Premier League game, and they get different looks from different teams, different styles, I think it's gonna make them better. And before that, I have them still struggling a bit. So yeah, 1-1.
For the next game, the first game of Sunday, we have Bournemouth versus Chelsea. I think this will be another mismatch for Chelsea. I think they will struggle again, like they did last week against Forest. But I think it's going to be a draw. I think it's going to be 2-2. I think Bournemouth tied in the last minutes of the game, and Chelsea are ruined again and finish with 1 point instead of 3 points.
Yeah, I'm in a pretty similar boat. I had it 1-1 for a draw, but yeah, it's tough to go to Bournemouth and get 3 points, especially when it's a team like Chelsea that's been struggling. So yeah, I think 1-1 is where I'm gonna go. Maybe it's Raheem Sterling that scores. Maybe it's Nicholas Jackson. Bournemouth. Maybe it's Dominic Solanke. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, 1-1.
For the next game, we have Everton versus Arsenal. I think this game is going to be very one-sided, even though it's in Liverpool. I still think Arsenal went 4-1. I think Everton find the net again, but I don't think they come out winning.
4-1 is crazy. Yeah, I mean, I obviously had the same team winning. Arsenal are gonna win no matter. They could play anywhere, and there's no way that Everton are winning this match. I have 2-0 Arsenal though. I think it's a little tough to play at Everton, but they're just a better team, right? And I think 2-0 is safe.
And for the last match day of the match week, it comes down to Forest versus Burnley on Monday. I think this is where Burnley get their first points of the year. I think it's going to be a very competitive match, but I think in the last seconds, I think Burnley comfortably take it to the corner and win 2-1 against Forest.
Wow, at Forest too. I had 1-1. I had a good amount of 1-1s this week, but I just kind of think that that's how it's going to be. Obviously, both teams are not big goal scorers. Like they're not gonna it's not gonna be like 3-3. Like that's not gonna happen. 2-2 is possible. 2-1 is possible. I have it at 1-1. I think it's gonna be pretty even. I think Burnley are gonna look better than they have at any point this year. But I still think only 1 point is achieved for both teams. Well, guys, that's all from us. If you agree, disagree, have any predictions yourself, put them down in the comment section below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Marco, you got anything?
Yeah, I just want to mention Aidan and I were having very difficult technical problems for the last couple minutes. So if you see Aidan the delayed reaction, it's because he's reading the closed captions on the bottom of his laptop.
I haven't. I haven't been able to. I haven't been able to hear a thing this entire time, basically. Marco's been able to hear me, and I haven't been able to hear him. So I've just been relying on the captions, and I think it worked out pretty well.
That's why he was so shocked with the 4-1 result.
Still rendering. Oh yeah, it took me a while to get shocked with that result. Yeah. You know what? We got through it though. But yeah, no, we did really well.
Yep, just like, subscribe.
Yep. Yeah, I could read your lips on that one. Like and subscribe, comment, post notifications, everything. And until next time, see you guys later.